Superhero Cop here, back with a
Well done, detective.
Batman Arkham game or video, and today we are going to be I will be discussing.
You've solved 15% of my riddles. Of
I
course,
will be
anything
discussing
less than
what I
100% is a
want
failing grade.
for the new Batman game. Um, yeah, This is something I want to try to push for my channel. I've been kind of contemplating if I should. This is still gonna be a gameplay channel at heart, but also a part of me really wants to make this into a commentary. Not commentary, but kind of just discussion channel where we talk about stuff like what's going on in pop culture and just the geek landscape, kind of just in general. And yeah, I hope this shift works, and I hope any of my viewers that are subscribed, hopefully enjoy this. But another thing, actually, found out that most of the people that watch these videos aren't subscribed. So if you can do Big Senpai a favor and hit that like button, I'd really appreciate that. Much love. But anyway, back to the topic of the video. What would I want for the new Batman game? And and mind you, this is my own kind of fanficky kind of, or my own personal preference on if I were writing the game, what would I want? What would I want in it? Well, so the game is also rumored to have the Bat family in it. And I think what Batman Gotham Knights, I think, is the name of the game or something like that, as I've heard from YouTubers that I highly recommend you guys need to watch. Slickmoth and Degenerate J, they make very good, amazing content. So yeah, um, after this video, after I'm done with this stream, I might edit it and might put their channels in the description, so you give them a what's up and tell them Superhero Cop sent you. But one thing that I want in the game is, since the Bat family's gonna be in it, I feel like WB Montreal is going to take a lot of notes from Arkham Knight, and one of my absolute favorite parts in Arkham Knight was say, like, for example, the Penguin weapons cache, when you have to get stop Penguin's weapons, and you play with Nightwing, and you can just with a press of a button you can switch over and play as Nightwing. And I think that added more fun to the already established combat, because like, for example, a lot of these characters have a similar fighting style to Batman, but at the same time you also have to put into perspective they're not Batman. And I like the fluidity of a lot of these characters. I like how Catwoman fights. I like how Robin and Nightwing fight. I love their fighting styles, and I hope now this is something I want. I said this. The Arkham combat is perfect. I think. Now, I don't agree with. I don't agree with everything that Arkham Knight say did personally as a story. I think in terms of story, I think it's one of the weakest. Next to Origins, even though I like Origins, I still acknowledge the fact that Arkham Origins had a lot of problems, and same thing with this game, Arkham Knight. But one thing that this game exceeded on, and I will praise Rocksteady to the sun for, is the combat. The combat in this game is the best in the games, and one thing I really want to see is um, obviously I think W Montreal is going to carry over the Arkham combat. It's too ingrained in superhero games at this point, and Batman especially, considering Rocksteady are the ones who basically crafted the perfect combat. But one thing I want is, don't obviously copy and paste it like what you did with Origins, because Arkham Origins, obviously, and I do give W Montreal I excuse them a lot because you have to put into perspective. They were rushed to make Arkham Origins. They had to be like, I don't know if you guys can hear me snapping, but they had to go quick, and they couldn't be like, all right, let's try to change up the combat. So they're like, all right, well, if and Arkham City's combat is perfect, so they were like, all right, let's just basically copy and paste City's combat style and put it into Origins, and it worked, and I didn't have a problem with it. But I also understand the fact, but it also needs to be the fact that they can't do this for this new Batman game. I feel like it should have very similar combat, very same a lot of the new mechanics that Arkham Knight had introduced. I honestly think that that's probably gonna happen. But also, don't be afraid to change it. Don't be afraid to be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Like, don't be afraid to do it. Don't like you can have it be very similar to Arkham Knight's combat style, but also add your own. But also have it be similar to it, but also add your own flair. Like, don't make it almost beat for beat, just like that combat. I don't think, again, as I said before, I don't think that's worth it, and I think that's personally kind of stupid. So, like, don't do that. Like, like, add your own flair, especially characters like Robin. One thing I want for, or especially like maybe like younger members of the Bat family. Again, for example, we don't know if like Nightwing full on is gonna be in the game. Like this, like for example, this Batman game could have a Robin, Dick Grayson that's that just basically is, I don't know, say has only been Robin for like, I would say 2 years, or maybe a year, or maybe a few months, or maybe a couple of weeks. We don't know, but or if it's already going to have the entire introduced. Like, Batman's pretty late on in his career. Like he's 40. Like he's in his 40s at this point. Dick Grayson has already left for Bloodhaven, or has already graduated to become Nightwing. Like, he's no longer Robin. And, Jason Todd is in there. Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, all of them. And Batgirl. Or if it might only be a few members of Bat Family, like Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and maybe Jason Todd, or Batgirl, or whatever. But one thing I want them to have a very different combat style from Bruce, or have it still be very similar, so like when players and they don't have to get used to this whole new mechanic, but at the same time have different animations happen, have different movements for the characters. Have it be very have you, for example, maybe some character, like for example, Batman can be very aggressive, slow, but also calculated. But you can have, like, for example, like the Miles Morales Spider-Man game that's gonna be coming out. People notice by like the trailers, when Miles seemingly is swinging, he's not as fluid as Peter. He's not very yeah, he's not very almost as skilled as Peter, but not in a way he looks incompetent. Like, he still looks competent in his swing. It's just that he's not used to it. But this isn't about Spider-Man. But what I want to take away from, but what I want to use for that as my point is, I want it to be like, for example, like say if like there's a Robin, I want that Robin to be have a similar combat style by Batman, because trained by Batman, obviously. Bruce is going to teach them his fighting style, about his combat, but also have it be very newbie-ish. Kind of have it be like it's not as aggressive. It's not as aggressive or as fluid as Bruce's. It's kind of like, it's actually kind of very slow when you think about it. It's very, or no, it's fast, but very kind of also like sporadic. It's not as formulated as Bruce. He's still getting them, and you can still use formulated counters and all that. But in terms of how the fighting moves, I would rather have it be much different. Anyway, moving on from fighting. So I feel like I'm talking about it for a while, but also, again, it's a Batman game. You kind of need to have that. Another thing that I feel like should be added. Again, this is my own personal take on it, how I want the game to be. Again, however they make it, I'm going to be happy with the product I am getting. I'm going to be happy with whatever product I get. or try to be. You know, if I don't like it, I'm still gonna play it and still gonna try to enjoy it. And one thing I want to take a one thing I want is personally, I love a young Bruce in his career.
Guess he's got a sense of humor
I love young Batman stories, but also at the same time, we've seen so many. And actually, the YouTuber I mentioned earlier, Slickmoff, also said that it's like we've already had so many. Like one thing he says is like we've already had so many. You know, oh, this is where Batman starts like type stories. One thing I want to see is a Batman that's say 15 years into his career as Batman. You know, like he's already met at least a handful of his rogues gallery, a good chunk of them. You know, like Dick Grayson just became Nightwing. Jason Todd would have probably only been Robin for like a year because you know he is the failed Robin. And Tim Drake is just kind of starting up. And one thing I want, and also another, just like Moff said, which I 100% agree with, is Bruce needs to be a mentor figure. I think that should be. I think that would add a lot more, more interesting to the story and add more level to the character. Add more, add another perspective to the characters. Because yes, we've gotten that before, Bruce Wayne being a mentor, but we haven't. I feel like it would be so cool to see it just really delve deep, as like, you know, he's teaching his family, basically his surrogate family, the Bat family. How everything is, like, he really is in that mentor role. He really has adapted to being into that mentor role, father figure kind of role, and it really explores his relationship with the Bat family. Because really, one thing I always loved about Batman and all the Robins, you know, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim, and Damian is his literal biological son, but you know, but for example, like Dick, Jason, and Tim, Bruce views them as his children. They're not obviously he adopted them, and he basically helped raise them and helped make sure they didn't go through the same trauma as he did. Now one line from the Young Justice cartoon that I love is when Wonder Woman kind of presses Batman about, you know, like basically kind of pressing him why do you have like this kid as a sidekick, and that's also been a very common and also understandable critique of Batman. But you know, Bruce was like, Dick needed to find a way to find, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but needed to find a way to get revenge, get justice for his parents' death. And Wonder Woman kind of looks at him and says, "Why? So he can be like you?" And then Bruce just looks at her and says, Bruce just looks at her or whatever and just says, "So that he wouldn't." And I love that, because it really, for me, yes, Bruce Wayne is a very complicated and very complex person, and in his headspace, you know, maybe doing this is a way for them not to be consumed and not to be tortured by vengeance. So that's why he did this, as almost a way for them to get that kind of anger out, so they don't end up like him. And it worked. It did work. For example, with Dick, like Dick didn't get consumed with this anger or sadness. Yes, obviously he obviously would miss his parents. I mean, who wouldn't? But he isn't consumed with this guilt and grief the same way Bruce can never escape. And I would really love to see that. Bruce basically as a father to Dick and all the other Robins, like he views them as his family, and see how that economy changes. Like, again, you can have more than one version of Batman. Like, there's versions, like, obviously you can have where he's a father, like his father, but he's the kind of like assholes, kind of distant kind of father type, or he's the very caring and loving, but he doesn't really want to show it kind of father figure. I would rather see a mix of both, where Bruce is kind of like, you know, that dickish kind of asshole, or he can be a dickish asshole from time to time. where he can, yeah, but at the same time, like, you truly see, like, there's more than one moment, there's more moments, there's a lot of moments where he truly is caring. He isn't just being, like, some abrasive asshole, and, like, he truly does care.
Nearly got hit by Batman's
And
tanker.
another thing, and also, moving on from, and also, I also want the story to have a much more intimate connection with Bruce, the Bat family, everything, and just Gotham in general. And actually Gotham, and mentioning Gotham, here comes to my one of my last topics, because again, I want to keep this video kind of short. But it comes to my last topic, and that is Gotham. And I'm going to be mentioning Slickmoth a lot, but he also mentioned this, which I kind of realized too. Now, yes, Arkham Knight has the biggest map out of all the other out of all the main 3 Arkham games. Hold on, let me see if I can.
Weird. All the radio stations are playing that emergency broadcast song.
So over there in the distance is Arkham Asylum. Obviously, Arkham Asylum in the Arkham Asylum game is a little bit bigger than that. Obviously, same thing with Arkham City, but they're still relatively small. This is the biggest map out of all the Arkham games, including Origins. Like, I think you can fit Arkham City into one of these islands. And there would still be a little bit more room of this island. But when you realize that the transversal is so short, like Slickmoff said, it basically takes seconds to get from, like, say here, all the way to, there. It takes, like, and you're going around, so you're starting from here and going around all the way to there. And one thing that needs to change, for me personally, and I agree with Slickmoth, make the city bigger. Because you see a few skyscrapers, but when you realize that, and yes, technically Arkham City and this other part of the Arkham Origins map is still, you can still kind of see some landmarks from the Arkham Origins map, is also part of Gotham, which would add to its which would add in Gotham size, but the problem is you can't go to these. You can't go to Arkham Asylum. You can't go to Arkham City. You can't go to the Arkham Origins map. You can't go here. You can't go to Asylum. You can't, and you can't go here either. You really can't, and it's very limiting, and they need to change that. Again, I want a lot more skyscrapers. Obviously, make it easy for make it like fast and fluid, like how Arkham Knight's transversal was. Because I think Arkham Knight's transversal, I'm trying to say that right. Was really what I think. Again, I think the transversal and how you move around, how you glide around the city is perfect. I just wish there was more stuff in the city, a lot more. Make the city, not just that, make the city bigger. Make it a lot bigger. Add people, add civilians. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount, but add actual civilians and not just this barren wasteland. Actually, give Gotham life. And add new interesting ways to transversal. Again, we don't know what they're gonna do. They haven't really talked about it. They haven't really. Oh, sorry, they blew my nose. But yeah, they haven't really said much of anything about it. So I hope they do eventually. And oh yeah. Well, I guess that I mean, oh yeah, and enemies. I feel like the Joker might be in this game. Oh, by the way, guys, this is my last topic. So, actually, one thing I want to say quickly: like and subscribe. Please subscribe. I want my channel to grow, and I really do want to pursue this a little bit more. And you know, this isn't gonna be like my main thing. I'm not picking YouTube as a job. Obviously, I don't. But I want to see this channel grow, and I want to build something nice, something sweet with this community. So if you can, please, because I'm finding out that most people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, please, and just say and subscribe. You know, you don't. Again, I'm not forcing you to do anything, but I really do want this channel to grow, and I feel like I want you guys to be a part of that. I feel like you guys would be excellent at that, and it would legitimately mean the world to me if you guys did that. But moving back on to my final topic, the enemies. I want the Joker is going to be in this game. I feel a strong feeling the Joker might be in this game, but I don't want him to be the main thing. The Rocksteady's Arkham games, their Arkham games, I already kind of explored that dichotomy of the Joker. Even when WB Montreal made Arkham Origins, which does take place in the Arkham universe, but wasn't made by Rocksteady. And I think they're the ones who are making this new Batman game. But beside the point, I want to different enemies, because Batman has such a big and such a huge and interesting rogues gallery. I want them to explore it. I want them to show more of it. I really legitimately want to see what they could do with it. And I feel like a part of that has to do with different enemies like Ragdoll or
Ain't too late to join up, my friend. Penguin's always looking for new recruits. I hear the money's good too.
like characters like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I was thinking about what enemies I would want in the game, but characters like them, which I think they are in the Arkhamverse, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but they were only, I think, like in a comic, and yeah, I don't want to get into all that. But there's so many Batman villains that you can pick from, and hell, even bring ones that were in the Arkham games. Like, I feel like I would love to actually see a game where Black Mask is actually the primary antagonist, not that bait and switch that Arkham Origins did, where they're like, "Oh, it's Black Mask. Black Mask's the main bad guy. Oh no, surprise! It's actually Joker." I hope they change it. I hope they change it up, and I hope that they add another new different element, like, okay, like for example,
Crap that happens in this town. It's time we went after the people responsible.
I'm sorry, keep blowing my nose.
No, Batman. I like a
But
riot as much
characters
as the
like
next
Penguin,
guy,
alright,
but it's
I'm
his
gonna
job
mention
to stop
Penguin,
stuff like this from getting out
like,
of hand.
just as an example, like, what is Batman's relationship with his rogues gallery? Have they just met him? Have they been long established with him? How do they, like, how does it all?
So hang on. If Batman is Bruce Wayne, then who's been
Like,
playing Bruce Wayne
how does it work? How does it work for them? How does this, universe kind of work for them? I want to see, like, even the Joker's in this game. I also want to see his relationship with that, but I also want to see, because I heard the Court Owl's gonna be one of the bad guys in the game, and you don't know the Court Owls. They're from a comic book line. When DC had to reboot the universe, Scott Snyder, when he wrote Batman, he introduced this concept of the Court Owls, and I'm not going to get into all of this right now. There's plenty of other stuff you can find out about the Court Owls, but they're going to be one of the bad guys, and I'm like, okay, what is their relationship with Gotham as a whole? How does it differ from the comics? What is their relationship with Batman? Do they connect, like, say potentially, like, is their influence so big that it somehow influenced Batman? Like, I feel like that'd be interesting. Like, it influenced Batman, and not just Batman, but it somehow, in a sense, influenced all the Robins. It influenced the Bat family in general. It influenced the Waynes, like Bruce's parents and Bruce and all that.
Yeah, I fought Batman once. Broke my arm in 3 places. But the way I see it, lightning ain't gonna strike the same place twice.
Yeah, like, what is their connection? Like, how do they fit into this mold? And I feel like there's so many interesting things you can take Batman into this new direction. But anyways, that's gonna be another video. Thank you for the people who will watch this afterwards, or the people who maybe have been watching this live. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to join the unit. Thank you for everything you've done, and peace out. See you next time. Bye bye. Much love.